You probably got me up nice and close. I've got Briana Foley on here. I'm so excited to have you back, babe.
I'm excited to be back.
Yes. So beneficial in the past. You've been amazing for my team. So thank you for coming on again and helping this new lot of girls coming through. I've got a few people that I really wanted on here. I'm not sure if they're on here or not because I can't see them and their iPhones aren't attached to a name. Have I got Emma here? Nope. And I've got Sarah, I think she's doing her prep. I've got someone just saying iPhone and iPhone 3. So I'm not really sure who that is. I think one's Christy. That's cool. I've got her. One must be the twins.
Yeah, you got the twins.
Got the twins. I've always got the twins. Very reliable. Love that. Awesome. All right. So
I think you should have me too. I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh,
yeah, I was finding like next to
Hey,
him.
Tiff, how are you? Right now,
That took a while. Good.
Every time someone talks, I got you. Hang on a sec. I'm just going to write Em a quick message just saying it's on. I shouldn't have to tell people again because I've given enough warnings, but here we go. All right. Bree. I want to give an introduction to Bree. If you guys haven't worked with Bree personally before, a lot of the girls on my team that aren't on here at the call at the moment have actually worked one-on-one with Bree. Lena is one of them, and I have a couple of my lifestyle clients that have worked directly with Bree as well. I have worked with Bree. I generally, and it's real ego thing, I don't know what it is, but I am well known to be very uncoachable. And it's not because it's not because I think I know it all. It's just I'm a bit complicated. And there was just one time I reached out and I was like, fuck, I need help. And it was during COVID. And it wasn't about COVID in itself because COVID was a very successful time for me, in terms of being able to kind of nail my training, my coaching business and scaling my business quite well. It was actually to do with anxiety and social anxiety and not believing in myself, and yeah, just a lot of limiting beliefs that I had that I couldn't get through. And I reached out to Brie just by one of these things. I think it was she knew someone I knew, and something she said on Instagram just resonated with me. And then next thing, she coached me personally for I think it was a solid 8 weeks or so, Brie.
Yeah, about 3 months, I reckon.
Oh, was it? Yeah, it went pretty fast. Yeah, 3 months of solid one-on-one coaching, and she pushed my boundaries like you wouldn't know. I hated her during it. I loved her during it. And she's exactly what I needed for all of it. And that was back in 2020. And it's 3 years later, almost 4 years later now, and I'm still pulling things out from what I learned with Brie daily in my everyday life. It's incredible, right? So she makes me level up all the time from what I learned in that 3 months. Hugely beneficial. And it helped me with my comp prep. It helped me with my business. It helped me with my social anxiety that I had at the time. Completely kind of over that now. So yeah, it really made me level up. So bringing her into the team like this, you guys all have different challenges, whether you're comp preppers, whether you're lifestyles, whether you're not actually actively on my program at the moment, but you have been. There's always going to be something that you can benefit from this mindset, life coaching, trauma coaching, all of that Brie is an expert in. So Brie, thank you for joining us again. And did you want to give a little rundown of what you do?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. And you were a dream to work with. You're so coachable. That's a lie that you're not coachable.
It was a special relationship.
Yeah, so the work I do, I work across 2 levels predominantly. The first being the mindset side of things. So I work with perceptional biases. So basically supporting people to shift whatever like perceptional bias is in the way of them getting what they want, right? And the other piece is working somatically. So looking at the nervous system. When I use the word somatic, I'm talking about the mind-body connection. So looking at like survival states or trauma responses in the body, things like anxiety, depression, procrastination, when we have that kind of defensive kind of walled up response. So looking at all of those different responses and basically supporting you from moving from a survival state into a state of like being really anchored and really feeling very at home and safe in your body, because when you've got safety in the body, that shifts the mind, and that obviously shifts your results in life. So yeah, that's a nutshell. Emma, do we want to move into like a Q&A setup?
Yeah, I think so. So I've kind of given the girls a heads up with the fact that we've tried to kind of do this in the past where we've had like set titles of what we're going to talk about, and it just didn't seem to roll as well. So we found like being really like a real casual kind of back and forth conversation works better, because everyone's dealing with something. And usually if someone's dealing with something, someone else is dealing with the same thing or something similar, and we can all kind of learn from that. So yeah, I wanted to put it out there with anyone. We've got a few comp preppers on here who are going through some challenges at the moment. We've got some people that are in off season with certain challenges as well. Is anyone want to speak up first and just put something out there? It can be absolutely anything to do with your lifestyle or limiting beliefs, or don't be shy.
Keeping in mind that everything touches everything, so it may not even feel relevant, but if you're suppressed in one area, it's probably, well, it will be suppressing you in other areas.
Yeah,
Well, if no one wants to start, I will.
good girl. Is that Tiff?
I'm new to this whole experience. I've only now been with Emma for coming up a month. Already seeing progress, which I love, and very much following her program to a T. I think it's more just the unknown perspective, knowing that I haven't done any of this before, and seeing the girls that are part of the team already are incredible, and they look incredible, and they should be so proud of themselves. So I guess I'm hoping that I'm going to also make that level. I don't know until I get there. So it's the I won't necessarily anxiety around it. It's just more the can't wait to see the result, and I hope I get the result.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Is there a question hidden in there?
I think it's more, how do you keep yourself stop doubting?
Beautiful. Okay. Tiff, was it? Did I hear that right?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. I love this question because I'm going to completely, if I may, shatter your perception around doubt.
Okay.
So I actually, Emma, are you able to make me a co-host?
Oh yeah, I think so. Hang on a sec.
I'm going to draw a little diagram if I can. It's going to be absolutely horrific.
Make as a host.
Yeah, host, co-host, either or.
Let's change host. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, beautiful. So bear with me, ladies, because I'm going to share my screen with you. And this is really interesting because I'm trying to use a laptop. Where are we? Share screen. I'm trying to use a laptop keypad thingy-majiggy instead of a mouse. But we'll see how we go. How do I draw a circle? Shapes. There they are. All right. So I'm not an artist. Well, that's pretty good. And then, so has everyone seen, we'll see if this will work. Oh, bummer. Has everyone seen this shape before?
Yep.
Yep, cool. Okay. So who wants to share with me what it represents? Does anyone know?
Balance.
Beautiful. Bingo. So here's the thing, right? We can't have the light without the dark. We can't have the dark without the light, right? What I see most people doing, and unfortunately like the whole positivity movement and like good vibes only kind of way of being has really like exacerbated this viewpoint. But what happens is I see people who they just want to feel confident all the time, and they just want to feel like safe and in their body and all of those things. They want to feel all of the good stuff, all of the light, and they want to disregard the dark, right? But what they're overlooking in that is you can't make one side of this bigger without making the other side bigger simultaneously and to the same degree, right? So what that means is that when you're trying to feel confident, when you're trying to feel certain, when you're trying to feel like really anchored into an experience, the more that grows, the more you have to experience the opposite. right? And it could be that that is in our unconscious. It could be that it's not something that we're necessarily conscious of, or it could be something that's like blaringly loud and it's like right there, constantly internally like coming up, right? So, Tiff, what I would say to you is that can you learn instead to celebrate your doubt and see it for what it is that you're growing? Because what happens is, as we grow, so I'm not even going to try to do another perfect circle. But as we grow, oops, where's my drawing thing? This, pretending that this is a perfect circle, which I'm doing pretty good. Oh no, there we go, stuffed it. I was impressed for a period of time there. If we pretend that this is a perfect circle, right? Every single time we grow, so Tiff, you're on this journey, right? You're building confidence, you're seeing results, all of these things. So this side here gets bigger, right? This side, whoops, that's terrible. I'm trying to do it quick. That becomes bigger, right? So inevitably, the other side also has to get bigger too. Inevitably, you're going to start to have doubts, fears, insecurities, uncertainty come up simultaneously and to the same degree that you grow in confidence, right? The key is it's not about the experience, it's about what you make the experience mean, right? So see it for what it is, that the doubt is popping up because you're growing, right? The doubt is popping up because you're stepping into something that it's the unknown. It's somewhere you haven't been before, right? The doubt's coming up because you're becoming a new version of yourself. And once you know that, you can sit there and go, oh my God, like what a blessing, right? And you can actually celebrate the doubt rather than fearing it.
Yeah. That's good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And what a good way to look at it.
Yeah. And what an empowering way to look at it, right? Like I have
That's
this
awesome.
I have this experience all the time in my business, in my sporting career. So like previously I was a fitness model and now I'm a jiu-jitsu competitor. I have this experience all the time where I'm like, oh shit, like I'm doubting myself. Who am I to do this? Oh my God, like, can I do this? Am I capable of this? Like, what if I fail? And then I catch myself and I go, oh, cool. Like I'm playing at a new level. All right. That doubt is there because I'm playing at a new level in some way. And it could just be like a slight subtlety. It could be that there's just something that's new or a new kind of you're in a new timeline with, you know, for those who maybe have prepped before, that you're just, you know, like maybe for Emma, like stepping into a new federation or whatever it may be. But it's a marker that you're doing something new. You're stepping into the unknown and you're growing.
Thank you for that. Yes, it does. And a good perspective of it as well, and a different perspective that I haven't thought of. So thank you.
Totally.
It's very empowering. That's good.
Celebrate the hell out of it. Because you know what? For most people, they don't experience, maybe they experience doubt, but they don't experience new levels of doubt, right? Because they're just repeating the same shit day in, day out. They're not actually growing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I remember you using that analogy with me with my social anxiety at the time, because I was so worried about what people thought of me. And I was like, oh, what if I do that? People won't like me. And you know what? You're like, you know what? Yeah. With that's the yin yang. For everyone that loves you, the equal amount of people will probably despise you. And that realization for me was, I replay that all the time. I'm like, I'll put a post up. I'm like, that's really annoying for a lot of people. I'm like, but other people might like it. So, you know, you're always it's a yin yang for everything.
Totally.
Yeah, I love that.
Totally. And it's even, I mean, we could go even deeper into it and look at, well, whatever you're experiencing inwardly, you're going to get the balancing perspective externally, right? So a lot of the time, the posts that I feel really safe in are the ones that I get, you know, if we look at a social media standpoint or you know, for you, Emma, in that context, yeah, like if you're feeling really confident within, a lot of the time they're the posts that attract where people debate you on it. You know, then I've had posts. I posted something today where I was like, oh, I don't know about posting that. That's a bit edgy. I got so much support for it. Right. So for you, Tiff, potentially, you know, everyone else is looking at you going, wow, she looks so confident, certain in this. And so the doubt's coming up inwardly, right? To balance it out, to balance out that external experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, it does make sense. Yep.
Beautiful. Great question. I love that.
Thank you.
All right.
Right. What else we got? Amanda, how are you going with everything?
I'm a lot better this week. For those of you that don't know, it's been probably the worst month of my life. Some really bad shit happened. But it also, like you talk about the yin and the yang, it kind of needed to happen in order for me to appreciate my life that it is. Because me and my husband always had doubts about certain things in our life, and then something happened and it sort of brought things forward and made us realize that, yeah, no, it's not what we want. We're very happy where we're at. But to have to make that decision was really hard, but in the end it all worked out the way that we wanted. And it's just made me realize that I could have handled it a bit better, could have handled things a bit better, but it made me learn a lot about myself. So yeah, this week's been a good week. So it's made me realize that, yeah, I can do this, but unfortunately I can't go back and undo the damage that I've done. I think I can just.
That's the cool thing about you, yeah, is that reflection on things, isn't it?
Yeah.
So learning, is it like, how would you get someone into like learning how to reflect on things when shit's gone down and it's life and it's happening anyway, without digging yourself into a hole? How do you make that mental switch of going, okay, this sucks, but let's think of it as a positive thing? Like sometimes when you're in that shit, it's like, no, there is no positive to this. And then you might come out of it, and then down the track, you're like, oh, yeah, now I can see it. But where do we catch ourselves at that point when we're deep? Do we allow ourselves to feel all of that?
Yes. And there's a couple of levels that I kind of want to answer that at. I think that in some cases, it is important to give ourselves space to feel it. You know, I think that sometimes, and especially as, you know, you all seem to be high-performing women, you know, I would classify you all as high-performing women, all out there, like purposeful, getting after it, like stretching yourselves. And when we operate from that space, we do have a tendency to kind of steamroll our emotions. You know, like we have this capacity to just sort of like push them to the side and disregard them. And, you know, what we don't realize is that they're building up. They're building up under the surface. And if we don't give ourselves the time to actually look at them, they're going to come out as some big explosion or some big, you know, impact on our life, right? And so I do think in some instances, it's important to give yourself time to actually sit with your emotions. And, you know, sometimes like it sounds crazy, but I'll actually schedule this time in. Like I'll schedule, okay, like I can feel that there's some stuff brewing here. I've got time on Tuesday. I'm gonna book myself an hour or whatever, right? Like today, I knew this is gonna sound crazy, but I've had quite a few things going on in the background for me. So I actually scheduled time today to go to a cemetery and sit with myself and just feel my emotions and like get some perspective, right? To elevate my viewpoint of being in a cemetery amongst people who are no longer here, right? Nothing gives you quicker perspective than going to a cemetery to realize that your problems ain't shit, right? I digress there. So schedule, right? Schedule the time and give yourself the space to actually look at your emotions. Otherwise, they will inevitably come up. The other piece is, I think it's practice. You know, it's practicing asking yourself the right questions. Like, what am I gaining from this? What are the positives in this? You know, because I think, yeah, we're sort of we're programmed to, especially as women, dare I say it, women connect through problems. We're more often programmed to connect through problems and bond through our problems. So we're kind of going against conditioning to not get caught up in those challenges, right? So one thing that I always encourage to my clients, and this does take practice because again, we're trying to reprogram years of conditioning, but I always ask my clients the question, like when even at rock bottom, the one question I always ask is, what do you actually desire here? right? What do you actually desire here? And let that be the guiding post, right? Let that be the true north. Because otherwise we tend to get caught up in like all the noise and all the shit and all the drama and life doing life things. And that's so valid. And it's just noise, right? If it's not what we want, why are we giving it our attention? Right? If it's not what we want, then you know, like our attention is so precious. It's not to say stick your hand in the sand and ignore it. It's to say do whatever you need to do in order to get past whatever that challenge may be. So it's training yourself. It's training yourself to learn how to regulate your nervous system so that you can come back to safety, and so that feeling your emotions is a safe experience. But also training yourself to keep coming back to, well, what do I actually desire here? And then through knowing how to self-regulate, keep coming back to that. Keep coming back to like, okay, what's the desire here? And you'll fuck it up as well because you're human. So we all do, right? You'll have moments where you're like, life's fucked. I can't do this, right? Like where you're totally dysregulated, you're in chaos mode, and that's cool too. And forgive yourself for it because it's part of being human.
Yeah.
Have you got some like suggestions on like ways to self-regulate, I guess, and like manage that?
Yes. It's difficult to give really specific just because everyone's nervous system is so different. So it kind of comes down to like, we would need to track what your nervous system's responses are to give you more nuanced advice. But to give you an overview, I would say, if you're someone who tends to be a little bit more go, go, go energy, so anxiety, you know, let me backstep for a moment. Stress responses come in two different forms, right? One is that we underperform. One is that we overperform, right? So one comes through as anxiety, go, 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 high achiever, get shit done, like keep moving, steamroll, move everything that's not the thing out of the way, right? The other is that we fall into depression or like a procrastination avoidance kind of response, right? So your fight or flight is your anxiety. Your freeze response is like your depression, procrastination, those sorts of things. So depending on which one you lean more towards, recognizing that some people are a mixture of both, most people are a mixture of both, but depending on which one you lean more towards will depend on how you react, or how you regulate. So if you're someone who's a little bit more prone to like anxiety and more of the go, 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 fight or flight response, you want to think of discharging energy, right? You want to get the energy out. So it could be something like shaking. So gentle shaking, or like sighing. It could be, and I'll asterisk here, these are very general. For some, these may actually heighten the dysregulation. It's about trial and error here. And this is why it is important to have someone actually kind of run you through it and figure out your unique system. But it could look like sighing. It could be going out to a paddock somewhere and yelling fuck at the top of your lungs until you can feel the energy shifted. It's one of my favorites. Or if you're more of that kind of freeze response, you want to think of adding energy, right? So it could be something as simple as if you're really in a state of deep freeze where you're deep in procrastination, it could be like tensing all of your muscles and like feeling the energy rise. It could be pushing your feet into the ground, or going out into nature and putting your feet into the earth. So all of those sorts of things will start to add energy. It could even be something as silly as like pushing on a wall, you know, or like in a door frame, pushing either side on the door frame. You'll feel that will actually add energy to your body and start to shift the freeze response. Does that answer your question, Sarah?
Yep, that's great.
Yeah, that's why a lot of the girls that I tend to attract are that go anxiety. I'm like that. You know, like go. Do you think that's why there's that attachment to training for that mental release, and that I mean, we all say it, we say training is therapy?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a dare I say it, and please, if any of you resonate with this, don't hear it as, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. Hear it as you're a human being that has has been conditioned to survive in a particular way, and it's worked because you're here on this call, you're alive. So like, it's not a faulty system. You just get to look at, is it the most effective way? And if you're coming up to burnout, maybe this is something that you get to look at later down the track, right? But I know for me, like, I was hugely just go, go, go. You know, training is my therapy. You know, and what I didn't realize, what I was actually hiding from the 10-year-old version of me that was severely bullied and was like really quite depressed. Right. When I stopped training, I went through a bit of a journey of like reconnecting with that part of me. And then my survival mechanism shifted. And suddenly I moved into procrastinating and being more towards the kind of freeze response. And then I went through the process of healing that. So yeah, definitely. That's, you know, a lot of it can be that we're in that go, go, go state because we're actually trying to cover up that freeze state. So that's where we get more of the blended. But yes, definitely. And unfortunately, I mean, that's the society we live in now, where we have a lot of stimulus coming at us all of the time. Our nervous systems aren't built to be able to hold social media, and we're not built to know what's happening on the other side of the world. So, you know, like we check our phones and we know about wars in, you know, Ukraine or whatever. Like, we're not built for that. We're not meant to know those things. So it makes sense that if we're in a constant anxiety state, and this is why the nervous system piece is so important. Yeah,
for sure. And I definitely see that with the especially within this industry of that band-aiding thing, people jumping from comp to comp to comp to comp to comp to comp because it's just band-aiding the real issues. An issue comes up in their life and they're like, comp prep time. You know, it's like you don't want to deal with it, and it's they jump to the next thing, the next high. It's like trying to reach the high, just like eventually it comes out, eventually things fall apart.
Totally. And I'll add to that, you know, it's not about like, there's nothing wrong with doing, you know, comp preps and all of those things, and you'll do them so much more powerfully when you've looked at the underlying kind of anxiety. You know, like Emma, yourself for as an example, like when we looked at all of that anxiety stuff, like you leveled up massively as a competitor, massively.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't even necessarily working directly with your comp prep. It was a byproduct, it was a natural byproduct. So it's that difference between, you know, I call it it's the difference between, and I don't say this to liken any of you to rats. It's just a really clear visual representation of the two different energies. But it's the difference between, like, if you've ever seen a rat or a mouse out in the wild, when they're in like this kind of, they're afraid, they're in a prey response, right? They don't want to be preyed upon. And so they're consistently running around, scampering from shadow to shadow, expending a lot of energy. They don't ever stop moving, right? So it looks like they're doing a lot, but nothing productive is actually getting done, right? Versus the eagle is the eagle soars. The eagle soars, you know, at great heights. It has a huge vantage point, and the eagle it's relaxed, right? It's not worrying about predators, right? It's just cruising. And then when it sees the rat, then it makes really precise, intentional, purposeful, quick movement, right? And it dives down, gets its prey, and then it goes back to cruising, right? So that's the difference. The eagle is purposeful, intentional. It's not operating from that same survival state. It moves with purpose. It gets shit done, but it's not, you know, it's not in this like fearful response all of the time. So that's the difference. Whether you're doing comp prep from the like scared rodent that's kind of like afraid of you know, being attacked, versus the eagle that's really quite chilled out and like doing its thing and has this incredible, you know, perspective, and is moving with precision and purpose. Does that make sense?
Damn, yes, I want eagles.
Yeah.
Eagle. Embody the eagle, people. Yeah. And as a coach, we want eagles because you know, it's follow the plan, it's precise, it's clear, just do the thing, be calm, stress-free, you know, and just follow the thing so that everything results perfectly. It's it's all that buzzing around and all that grasping onto things that really don't matter, that clouds focus, clouds drive, causes
Yeah.
physical changes in the body because you're stressed. So yeah, we're aiming for Eagles, Team Eagle.
Totally. My first prep, I'll share my very first prep. I was definitely the rat, and like the results on stage, and I followed everything to a T, to an absolute T. Didn't miss a single training session, didn't fuck up a single meal, but I was stressed the whole dang time. Right. And I got up on stage and you could see it. My midsection was just pumped with cortisol. Right. My second prep, I became the eagle, and I was like, I'm going to chill out a little bit more. I'm going to have fun, you know, like I'm going to kick back and I'm just going to enjoy the process, and I'm going to be really intentional with it, but I'm not going to stress myself out about it. Right. I came in so super lean. I was still hitting PBs like 7 days out. Right. Which is like pretty wild. And like it was a cruisy prep. You know, I only started to feel shit in that final like 5-day depletion. And that was because we went hard with my depletion. Right. But the rest of the prep I was chilling. And I came in looking incredible in comparison. Right. So there's a quote that I always use. Where you create from determines what you create. I'll say that again. Where you create from determines what you create. So if you're stressed out, you're going to create that same experience. If you're chilled out and you're really embodied and coming from safety, you're going to create the same experience. So you've kind of got to get ahead and interrupt the pattern, so that you have a you know, the experience that you want.
Yep. And for those, you know, that aren't quite there, is managing like within a group environment, team environment. I was just explaining during the week about how I create like a team Facebook chat group at around about now. I've just started like last week, because I don't introduce it too early, because we're still working. A lot of people are still working through that mindset stuff that can interfere with the energies of everyone else. So, you know, and there's still going to, I mean, there's, you know, it's a big team. You're going to have people that are different levels, different mindsets, different growth period, you know, where they're at in the whole process, the empowering journey that they're doing. They're all going to be at different levels. Some have competed before, some haven't. So it's also managing your own energies and making sure that you don't absorb other people's energies and it brings you down, or you start pushing, you know, giving too much of your energy to someone that's not there yet, and they start to, you know, draw away your own fun and excitement for the journey, because they're putting all of their problems onto you, and you'll end up being their counselor through the whole process.
Beautiful. Do you have any other questions?
How you going, 20s?
Yeah, well, I'm just sitting at the servo in the car park currently, but Lydia's just jumped out to call her partner. Yeah, we're going good. It's not so much the comp and prep and stuff that affects us. It's just those work weeks, just balancing, because there's a whole lot of focus that needs to go onto that when we actually go to work. So it's actually fucking taking my time away from what I want to be doing, but you have to do it because it pays the bills, you know what I mean? So yeah, just hanging out for fucking holidays, I guess, so we can get this shit done.
Yeah, you guys are so dedicated, and that's the difference. There's a few of us on here who are like shift workers, and it does take its toll. It's really, you talk about trying to preserve your energy, you really have to watch where it goes when you're a shift worker. We've got emergency service workers on here as well. Same thing, like I've been there, I know what it's like. You've got to preserve your energy for you and make sure that, you know, yeah, you watch where that goes, because recovery is one thing on comp prep, and then you throw on a night shift, it goes out the door.
Yeah.
Oh, night shift can just go fuck itself, to be honest. What a joke. You know, working 14 hours a day, right? Like, you go to work, like it's not good for you, you know what I mean? Like, so whoever is working night shift, I fucking feel you, right? Because I just come off night shift this morning. Yeah, so that in itself is you know, a fun time to navigate, but you just gotta get it done. But just, you know what I mean?
Yep, get it done, black and white. It's the best way to be sometimes. And you know, at least you know that your holiday is coming up, the time off is coming up, and you can go, you know, go hard there. You guys will be going hard anyway. It's just more so the fact that you're gonna have that mental release from work.
Yeah, I just don't want to wish my days away. You know, like it's like 7 days, and then we can go and then live our lives and stuff like that on our breaks. Like you just get so into that routine and you're loving everything again, and then back to work, and then it fucks up your whole routine again, and then by the fourth or fifth day, especially on a night shift, you're just that tired that I'm like, oh, I just need to sleep today. So you just sleep. Just go listen to your body, your mind, whatever's cooked. If it's cooked, just fucking listen to it.
Yeah, 100%. We've got Chelsea who's joined in late. Hey, Chelsea. I think she's on. Hey, how are you, babe?
That's the reason why I'm on mute.
Oh, the dog.
I've just got home. It's like chaos.
How you been going, babe? So Amanda and Chelsea competed in the same season last season. And how you've had a few changes happening, a lot going on. Chelsea, how are you feeling?
I've had lots going on. I think change of jobs, change of scenery. I've for anyone that doesn't know, I need surgery now on my knee.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I've just been trying to like focus on. It's like I was pretty, like I said to you in post comp a while ago. I think I was a little bit lost and I didn't know what to do with myself once that goal was gone. But then everyone keeps talking about the journey, right? And so I'm like, just focus on the small goals. So at the moment, I'm just doing what I can do, focusing on meal prepping, making that like a big thing. It's something I can control. So trying to put all those little positive steps in so that I don't relapse, because I can definitely feel like negative thinking, like, oh, it's all just not worth it, it's shit. Even though I've done so much in the last sort of 6 months to 12 months, I can just almost throw it all in the bin. I'm like, why are you thinking so badly? So I'm trying to be positive.
Yeah, have you got a specific question for Bri at all that might help with any of that?
No, not off the top of my head, really. I don't know. It's been, I don't know, to be honest. Sorry, I mean, like I've literally rolled in the door.
Sorry, babe, put you in it. I think you raised a really good point. Like, both Chelsea and Amanda in the same season had, we made sure there was goals set for season, for your off season. We had them set. It was all gonna be okay. We had something to grasp onto. And then life happened, and then the goals went out the door because we had to. It wasn't a choice. Things just kind of fell apart a little bit with the goal. So it's reassessing all the time, isn't it?
Yeah. And like I've just been, like I said, trying to focus on what I can control. And just because a few things don't go to plan doesn't mean that, I throw it all away, or, like bodybuilding, it's such a long journey. It's not something that you're going to do in sort of 2 weeks' time. So I'm like, well, if you need to have a month off or things need to change for a few weeks, it's not the end of the world. So trying to remind myself of that.
Definitely. Yeah. I put a post up the other day about how you think when you're off that all your muscles gonna be lost. Everything's gonna shed, and it's just easy to stay in bed. And I think the fear isn't the muscle. I think the fear is the lack of losing the routine that you held on to.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah. You felt the same, Amanda?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think more so with Chelsea, like with this change of scenery, change of job, it's and then the surgery. It's just sort of like the triple whammy, and I feel for Chelsea, like I really do. But when she mentions things like meal prep, the one thing you can control is what you put in your mouth. So it makes you feel like that you're still on track and you're still working towards that goal. Absolutely. I can relate to that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Lydia, I think you're having a snack there. You just pop back into the car. How's everything been running with you? Yeah, we're just talking with Renee about how night shift and all of that's been tough.
Yeah, I was on day shift.
Okay.
I just tried to stick to the plan. I think I was all hung up about time to do this, time to do that. And I just kept my nutrition on track and training on track. But I was still like, I could be doing more if I didn't have to go to work for 14 hours. And my mind was not really at work. It was on comp. And I just had to pull myself out of that. The last 2 days I've been heaps better, but yeah, I was in a little bit of a doubtful state. But I'm back again now. Not with like training and health prep, but in my head space.
Then you're way ahead already.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a bit of a mish. I don't usually get in those states of mind, so it was a new thing to be going through and wondering. Like I wrote a few messages to people, but then deleted them because I didn't want to bother them as well. Like oh, I might just reach out just to see if some, and then I was like, no, don't do that. Just go to sleep, and then yeah.
Bree,
that was.
I feel like Bree, that's a big one.
Which piece is that, Emma?
The fact that she reached out for help
And
and
then
then deleted it because she didn't want to bother them.
Yeah.
doesn't want to be a burden.
Tell me more about the context. Is it Lydia? Did I? Yeah. Tell me more about the context of that.
So I think I was tired. We're only getting 5 hours sleep a night, and I was just like maybe thinking I need to do this, I need to do that, and looking at myself, maybe a body image thing as well, thinking that I needed to do more. I don't know how to make it make sense, but I wanted to reach out to somebody. So I was going to message Em and just say, look, this is how I'm feeling at the moment with everything. And then I just deleted it. I wrote 3 messages and then deleted. Same with Lena. I would have tried to message, but I didn't. I was reaching out for some clarification about my headspace, but not being like that. Usually I was in a different, I don't usually reach out for help.
Yeah.
Vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make it into a question. I was just feeling shit, and I wanted to not feel shit. Yeah. And I was writing a message, and I just didn't anyway. I just thought, fuck it, I'll deal with it myself.
Yeah. May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is that a pattern for you, making things maybe a little bit more difficult than they need to be?
Sometimes no, because sometimes I'll call my mum or something if I need some help, or Renee, or if I'm in my bloody dog in the vet the other week and I thought the world was ending, and I called Renee in a state of hysterics, and she made me feel better. I will reach out if I need help, but I just think I was in a space of with comp prep. I haven't ever done comp prep before, and I was like, you're being stupid.
Okay. Yeah. So is that the difference here, that comp prep's something new for you?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I would gently nudge that that's the best time to reach out, because you're doing something, again, you're in the state of uncertainty, right? You're in the stretch. And so again, if I go back to and Chelsea, forgive me, I don't think you were on the call at this point when we were chatting about the eagle and the rat analogy. So this may somewhat go over your head, but it's that difference, right, between looking at like the eagle moves with precision and it's easy, right? There's an ease to it, versus the rat scampering around with kind of no sense of direction, just looking to stay in the shadows, right? So that it doesn't get preyed upon, so that it can survive. Tuning into that energy, right? How can you create more ease in this experience? Something like comp prep is very it's tiring work, right? And so you get to be really efficient in how you go about this. You get to have stellar boundaries, and you get to trust that the people in your world, especially Emma, have stellar boundaries. And I know she does, because we worked on this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like letting yourself ask for help. And more than that, letting people actually give to you. I know for me, like, I love supporting people. I love it. So when people don't come to me for support, I'm like, you're robbing me of the thing that I love. All right. And my guess is because Emma's in this line of work, she probably actually really fucking loves this stuff.
And without that information, I can't coach you as best as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let yourself be supported. You know, and obviously be discerning. Like if in that moment, and who am I to say in that moment, maybe it genuinely didn't feel like something that you needed support with. So Lydia, I'm not necessarily like saying this to you, but to everyone as a whole, whoever needs to hear this, like let yourself be supported here. Let yourself lean into the energy of, you know, I speak a lot in my work around like the queen archetype. I don't know if any of you are familiar with archetypes, but like the queen, when we look at the queen archetype or the king archetype, the royalty archetype, like their main focus is service. Right. And if they're so busy focused on like, oh, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to ask my chef to cook for me because I don't want to be a burden. Right. I don't want the guy that shines my shoes to shine my shoes because I don't want to be a burden. Right. And so instead they go out and they cook for themselves and they shine their shoes and they, you know, they do it all themselves. Like the queen doesn't have any time to actually serve. Right. She's so burnt out from doing everything herself that she can't actually do the fucking thing that everyone wants her to do. Right. So an embodied queen or an embodied king, the embodiment of the royalty archetype is to sit back and let yourself receive, knowing that it's actually of service to other people. Knowing that when you can sit back and go, oh, like I'm going to let my, and I'm being a bit tongue in cheek here, but I'm going to let the person who shines my shoes shine my shoes so that I don't fucking have to, so that frees me up to go and do the thing that's actually going to have the impact. Right? Like that's the eagle. That's moving with precision and intention and you know, and you don't have to burn out. You get to be so discerning in where you put your energy that like you're going to rock the fuck out of comp prep because your energy is like honed in on what you desire. And if that means that you have to put pride aside and ask for help or ask for a more efficient or effective way, like fuck yeah, do it. Right? Because to not do it is inevitable burnout. That was a bit of a tangent.
Big tangent.
Great tangent. And I think, you know, when hearing that, Lydia, as well, is you know, both of you guys, you know, I know you're individuals, I love to group you together and a lot, I know, but you do have this very positive mindset the whole way through. And it's been pretty good for you. You guys are hard. Your training and your nutrition's actually pretty nasty comp prep, you know, looking where you came from, but you're so positive. So hearing that you've actually had a bit of a struggle is, for me, it's kind of cool. Because I talk about the emotional journey and how much you'll learn about yourself on comp prep. You know how much I love that. That to me is more important than the stage. So what you've just experienced is something about yourself you hadn't experienced before. So it was new. And like we said at the very beginning of this call, flip it as not something to be feared, but something to be celebrated. Because at the end of this, after you've gone on the stage, you'll be looking back going, holy shit, I learned so much about myself. And exactly what the thing that you just learned about yourself when you were fearing that is what you can use now in life. Yeah, you'll take this, comp prep will be done and dusted, shine will be over, and you'll be working or something like that, and you'll need some help. And guess what? You'll ask for someone's help. Yeah.
I guess that's something that Lydia and I, or I know definitely I, but I think Lydia as well, is being vulnerable.
Yeah.
So vulnerability for me in the past has been weakness or has been taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
So to ask for help or to do those things is there's not been the trust there to do that. So we stick to each other and lean on each other rather than leaning on anybody else, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or I
That way you're not let down.
That's right. Yeah, you can't get let down if you don't fucking. And I know that's probably unhealthy way of thinking. Like I know the process, and you know, knowing that that's not one of my strengths is being vulnerable. Like I know that about me. I know that I'm a strong-headed, stubborn, determined, and I know that I also break down and like have major fucking meltdowns also. But feeling that, letting yourself feel it, but I don't let anybody else see it, probably apart from Lydia, because I love her and I trust her, and I've been burnt by so many people in the past. So I stick with what I know rather than letting other people in. Does that make sense?
Totally. Renee, did I get that right?
Yeah.
I want to celebrate you because that share in and of itself was vulnerable, and like that was some rock star shit. Like that is strength. That's some fucking strength there. Seriously, because it's I come from the same, by the way. Like I'm definitely someone who used to be very uncomfortable with vulnerability, very uncomfortable. Until I learned that real strength is actually being able to like to show who I am, right? And that's not to say like, you know, it's not about like sharing yourself everything with the world. You get to be really discerning. Like anyone who knows me knows that I am stupidly discerning about who I let into my world. My world's sacred, and if you haven't earned your place, like you've got to earn it. Simple as that, right? I'm so mindful about who I share things with. I'm so mindful about who I go to for advice. And you're paying Emma, right?
Yeah.
Her job here is to support you. And my assumption is you picked her for a very specific reason because you trust her, right? There's a degree of trust there.
But it's building. Like it's obviously you don't just trust somebody, or I definitely don't just trust somebody straight away. But like, you know, I'll speak for myself and Emma, but like we're growing our bond together, which then makes it stronger for us to be able to have that connection. Like I used to just be like, I feel this way about somebody that I can trust them, and then next minute you're burnt. Now scissors are fucking sharp. You fuck with my boundaries, I will cut you off. Snip, snip, real quick. But now for me to form a relationship with somebody and be able to be open and honest and be vulnerable, I guess, like that takes time. And if you don't align, then that's it. So now, you know, forming these bonds with Emma, and then, you know, our one-on-one posing, or us coming down here and then spending time with her, like it's not just about a coach anymore. Like I value her as a human. And it's not just Emma either. Like season A girls, like yourself, Amanda, and Chelsea, like you know, I see things in you ladies, and I was just like, I like that. I like your vibe. I like, you know, being able to see that with other people, where I probably wouldn't have put myself in that position had it not been, you know, doing these things that we're doing now. And then meeting Emma, forming that bond. Yeah.
I mean, people think being up on stage in a bikini is vulnerable. It's not. It's the journey, and it's being aware of that.
Totally.
Yeah.
A year ago, Renee, I would never have come out with a bunch of people that I didn't know to go and throw axes at a wall. There's just no way you would have gotten me there. So I think, yeah, like you were saying, you cut off people that don't sort of fulfill you. And I've learned that throughout my comp prep as well. And I'm a different person to what I was, 6 months, 12 months ago, for the better, I think, for myself. I was a yes person, and you talk about boundaries and stuff. I've definitely learned to put them up and, do what's best for myself. But along the way, I've met all you girls, which are so much more aligned than what I was, with some of my friends I've known for 12 months ago. So.
Yeah, and that's the whole team things that we can do, like stretching those boundaries and doing the photo shoots. I know Renee, like you just opened right up at that photo shoot and doing something, pushing your boundaries on that, and we've got another one coming, so we'll be able to bond even further with all of that, because it's one thing teaching and posing, and you got to do the teaching and the coaching. It's another thing sitting in a room putting fun clothes on and you're just relaxing a little bit and being part of a team with a bunch of amazing females. I'm so bloody lucky to have you guys, and that's due to Brie, because that was the whole thing we worked on too, is getting those soulmate clients that we're aligned with, and letting those other people kind of fall away a little bit. If they're not to be, they're not to be. And you do attract. What do they say? I'm very bad with quotes. What do they say? You spend the time with 5 people, and what is it?
Oh, you are the average of the 5 people you associate with most.
Yeah. And we've got about 10 of us, which is awesome. So, there's a lot to gain, I think, from every one of us on this comp prep journey this season and next, and, in the team. So, yeah, it's awesome. I'm going to wrap it up there, Bree, unless there's anything anyone else wanted to bring up.
No, I got to get to driving.
I'll see you guys in the morning.
Yeah, you will.
Thank you so much, Bree. As usual, you're so beneficial to my group. I'm sorry that the other guys haven't joined on, but I did record it, so I'll be sending that over to my Facebook group so they can re-watch this. And I'm sure they'll benefit from it because we always do. Guys, if you would like one-on-one coaching, or I think, Bree, you have a group thing going on?
Yeah. So I do. I actually have a free Facebook group at the moment. It's called From Pressure to Pleasure. So yeah, follow me on Instagram or Facebook, and I can give you the link. Feel free to just shoot me a DM. But I put out like tons of free content on there, and I actually do like Q&As and stuff as well. So if you have questions, like shoot them through.
Yeah. Awesome. We'll definitely do that. So thank you again. Guys, I'll see you at posing, at check-ins, at all the things. Let's just give one photo here. I'll just take a shot so everyone do their best side and smile. Good. And we shall catch up soon.
Thanks, Bree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bree. Guys, thanks for joining. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.